I am Jahkil Jackson, a proud, unapologetic member of Gen Z. And that's basically people born between 1997 and 2012. So, the media has us thinking that young people are lazy, negative, and uninspired. Now, I will own up to the fact that our generation can be, let's say, special. But what group of young people are? I personally am here to show a different side of black kids from the city of Chicago. I want to build bridges between young people and adults. I often joke with my parents about the good old days, the 1900s, and one thing they've instilled in me is that time waits for no one. So, good thing my generation has TikTok, you know what I mean? I think this is why adults don't take us seriously, but I say, let's have some fun while we're making moves in this world. I've met some amazing young people throughout my journey, and I'm here to tell you that we are here to shake some things up. We are disruptors and change agents, and we should all take pride in knocking down doors and creating change. So let me ask you, how many of you have heard of the term social entrepreneurship? Well, you see, when I first heard the term, I was like, what in the world is this? You see, I knew what an entrepreneur was, but what was the social part about? So the definition of a social entrepreneur is a person who starts a business with the aim of solving social problems or affecting change. This, my friends, makes me a social entrepreneur. I'm here to create change in our world. How am I doing that? In my short 14 years, I have managed to impact over 70,000 men, women, and children across the world. Through my organization, Project I Am, I build awareness of homelessness and provide temporary support to those in need with my blessing bags full of toy items. Through my organization, throughout the past 6 years, I've raised over $275,000 to go into my homeless initiative. Also with the organization, I've reached over 60 cities, including Chicago, LA, Atlanta, as well as orphans in Africa, volcano victims in Guatemala, hurricane survivors in Houston, Florida, and Puerto Rico. Did you know that there are over 550,000 homeless people in the United States? While all of them are not sleeping outside, about 20% of them do search for dry spaces to lie their heads on the streets, and the other 80% are drifters, living from couch to couch with family members and friends. These are all scary facts, and I believe that we can all stand tall to fight for those that are less fortunate. This is why my organization is so important. Let's back it up to when it all first started. When I was 5 years old, I went to go feed the homeless with my aunt and my cousins. It was my first real experience with the homeless, so I was in total shock. It was the first time that I felt empathy. I couldn't comprehend why there were people laying on the street with sleeping bags and dirt. I can recall the looks on their faces trying to keep warm, blowing their hands. I can even remember seeing a rat. I can also recall how grateful and blessed they were to receive the chili that my aunt had made for them. When I went home, I told my parents about my day and asked them if we can give them all houses. Now, this was just my 5-year-old mind racing like crazy, and of course they said no and explained to me why my idea wasn't possible at the time. But I kept asking and asking, it did not stop. So they sat me down, and that's when we had the conversation. From age 5 to 8, my consistency with the concern for the homeless population showed my family that it was not a fluke. It confirmed my passion and my commitment to trying to help. My brainstorming concluded with the actual blueprint for Project I Am. When my family sat me down and had a conversation with me about what can be done for the people living on the streets, we started throwing out ideas. I did some research and found that socks was the #1 requested item by the homeless, along with other items that can clean and sanitize themselves. And that's when I decided to do toiletry items for my blessing bags. Now I know the way I'm gliding through this may make it seem like it was all easy to get this done and to maintain the organization. But let me tell you, it wasn't. I still face the challenges to this day. In the beginning, it was no actual plan, so we were just kind of riding along, doing things that my parents or my Gigi had set up, and as more people started to find out what I was up to, it got more serious. I had to go from an 8-year-old shy kid to a 9-year-old founder of an actual organization. It was no longer a pet project. People were interested in what I had to say, and that scared me. I didn't want to have to talk to people or in front of people, but my parents showed me that I wasn't going to be able to help the people that I really want to help without doing that. They told me that it had to come from me and not them. I dealt with the fear of being undervalued by adults and judged by my peers. The first time I was told no, I was devastated. I made my heart sink. I was done. My confidence was completely shot, and I didn't want to ask again. I now know that this is a new process for me, and because of my lack of experience in business, I was not ready for this lesson. You would think that a kid that's trying to make a difference in the world would be more accepted, but this is not always the case, but that's okay. If you quit now, you will never get to that yes. My dad tells me that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. That's when I started to use my voice more and be more comfortable with myself so that I can speak out against the injustice for the homeless community. Once I was more comfortable in my voice, that's when I started getting more support. We started getting donations to move forward with the organization, and that's when we had to make it a formal company. The adults, they handle all the paperwork because, let's be honest, I was fresh out of 3rd grade. I don't even think I knew how to sign my own signature. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, anybody can be great because everybody can serve. You don't need to have a college degree to be able to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. How many of you have gone through experiences where you saw a homeless person, you kind of just ignored them and went about your day? Well, the next time that you're in this situation, try to acknowledge them. Because at the end of the day, they bleed the same way that we bleed, they cry the same way that we cry, and they breathe the same air that we breathe. Let me ask you, do you ever find yourself thinking negatively about a person asking for money in your car window? Can you imagine not having a place to sleep at night? My question to you is, what if that was your classmate, cousin, mom, or dad? What if it was you? I believe that my goal is to show others that homeless people are people too. And speaking of goals, how many of you have a plan for the next 5 years? What about 10 years? You see, even though we're still young, it's important that we think about our lives beyond today and this week. What are your goals and passions, and how can you turn these passions into a life path? The first thing that I recommend doing is coming up with a game plan, something that can help guide you along the way. In your game plan, you have to think about your goals and your oppositions that you will face along the way. For example, my oppositions are time management, bullies, and sometimes even myself. Recently, I've been figuring that my life has been operating like a sports playbook. I have a first, second, third, and fourth quarter in everything. For example, my end goal is to own my own NBA team. Now, this is a big, expensive goal, so that means I have to figure out how I'm going to get there. My solution will be multiple streams of income. I've been selling merchandise for the past few years, like shirts, hats, hoodies, and more. I also have 2 bestsellers from the past 2 summers, and I just started investing. And I also hope to invest in real estate by the age of 16. And this is all happening simultaneously as I plan to play Division I basketball with hopes of going to the NBA. Now, this may seem like a lot before turning 18, but something I've learned over the years that We're not too young to do a lot of the things that we want to do when we're adults right now. Something that I've learned from the late Kobe Bryant is to follow your passion, outwork everyone, and be a legend. No days off. We have to be the change that we want to see in the world. Even through the obstacles like COVID, racism, sexism, what are you waiting for? What's holding you back? My motto is don't wait to be great. It means that young people don't have to wait until we're adults to be change agents or start our own business, because we can do it right now. What's the point of waiting when you can start now and be the best when you're an adult? Or be the best now? So what I say to you is to go out and find your passion and do what makes your heart happy.